So good morning. So this is Srinivas, Department of Commerce, PB Siddhartha College, Vijayawada. So today we are going to discuss about law of demand. So what is this demand?
In
In
ordinary
language,
demand
means
desire
desire for a commodity. So whenever we are discussing some topics in economics, definitions will come in two languages. One is ordinary language, the other one is economic language. So in ordinary language, demand means desire for a commodity. So if I like to have Apple iPhone, then it is called as demand in ordinary language. But in economic language, mere desire for a commodity is not considered as demand. So desire for a commodity should be backed up. So desire for a commodity should be backed up by ability to pay and willingness to pay. So if I like to have Apple iPhone, then it is called as demand in ordinary language. But in economic language, that desire is not treated as demand. So I would like to have Apple iPhone, but there should be ability for me. So I should be in a position to pay 75,000 rupees or 1 lakh rupees for purchasing that Apple iPhone. If I cannot pay 1 lakh rupees, or if I cannot afford 1 lakh rupees, then it is not demand. Let us suppose I'm having that capacity. Even if I'm having capacity, there should be willingness. So I should be ready to pay that 1 lakh rupees for purchasing a phone. So ability is important, willingness is important. So this, if desire is backed up by ability and willingness, then it is called as demand in the economic language. Okay. So this is the definition for the term demand. So whenever we say demand always refers to particular place, time, price. So whenever I say demand always refers to particular place, time, and price. So in some places, there may not be demand. For example, woolen clothes are there. So woolen clothes are preferred in some areas. In most of the areas, they don't prefer the woolen clothes. Even if you offer low price, people in those areas will not prefer to purchase woolen clothes. And demand always refers to particular time. So for example, you see cool drinks are there. So generally cool drinks are preferred in the summer season. Other seasons, mostly people may not be preferring to purchase cool drinks. So here demand for cool drinks is depending on time, price. Sometimes people are willing to purchase that particular product, but price may not be encouraging for them. So if they think that price is high, they may not purchase. So demand means desire for a commodity backed up by ability and willingness. But demand is always influenced by three main points. One is place, one is time, and one is price. So we have to remember these 3 points. Okay. Now, demand function. So what is this demand function? So whenever we say demand function or any function, it explains a relationship. It explains a relationship. So demand function also explains the relationship between demand for a commodity and its price. Demand for a product and its price. Then it is called as what? Demand function. It is called as what? Demand function. So I can write demand function like this. So demand function is equal to demand for commodity N is equal to price of commodity N. Price of commodity N. So if I write like this, it comes under demand function. So demand for a product not only depends on the price, but it depends on other factors also. So for example, demand for a product may depend on its substitutes. So for example, tea, coffee are substitutes. So if price of coffee decreases, the demand for tea may decrease. So actually the price of tea remained constant, but still demand for tea has decreased because of decrease in the price of coffee. So now here demand for tea is affected not by the price of tea, it is affected by the price of coffee. That means demand for one product is affected by another product, that is substitutes. And similarly, demand for a product is also affected by complementaries. Is also affected by complementaries. So for example, car petrol, these two are complementary products. That means one product is dependent on another product. If petrol prices increases, the demand for cars will decrease. Demand for cars will decrease. Because when petrol is becoming costly, so people will not prefer to travel by cars. Then automatically demand for cars will decrease. So here price of the car remained constant, but price of petrol increased, so demand for cars has decreased. So now here demand for car is affected by the price of petrol, complementaries. Then weather conditions, climatic conditions. So weather demand is also affected by the weather conditions. So just now I said one example, cool drinks. So when we say cool drinks, summer season its demand may be more. In other seasons, especially rainy season and the winter season, the demand for cool drinks may be less. That means demand is affected by climatic conditions or weather conditions. So price it will affect definitely. Substitutes will also affect. Complementaries will also affect. Weather conditions will also affect. So then when we say demand function, and if you want to explain the relationship between demand for a commodity and other factors, various other factors, including price, so then we can write demand function as like this. So Dn is equal to f of Pn, comma, substitutes, complementaries, weather conditions, and similarly demand is also dependent on the income of the people. So if income of the people is more, then automatically demand for product will increase. If demand, if income of the people is less, then automatically a demand for the product will be less. So we can write demand function like this. So considering various other factors, including the price. So what is demand? Demand means desire for a commodity in ordinary language. But in economic language, mere desire for a commodity is not a demand. Desire for a commodity should be backed up by ability to purchase and willingness to pay. So whenever we say demand, demand always refers to place, time, and price. So demand function is a function that explains relationship between demand and various factors. So Dn is equal to P of Pn. So Pn, F of Pn. So we can write like that. When we consider various factors, then demand function can be written like this. So Dn is equal to F of Pn, substitutes, complementaries, weather conditions, W, income of the people. So like this. So this is demand function. Okay. Then, what is this law of demand? What is this, sir? Law of demand. So law of demand says if price increases, demand contracts. If price decreases, demand extends. If price decreases, demand extends. So this is law of demand. So I'm saying price increases, demand contracts, price decreases, demand extends. Now, what is difference between extension, increase, contraction, and decrease? Okay. So when I say extension, demand will increase only because of change in price. So when I say demand increased, then there will be change in demand due to other factors, not because of price. Other factors may be income, maybe substitutes, maybe complementaries, maybe climatic conditions. So because of those factors, demand will change. So other than price, if demand changes, we should call it as increase. If demand increases due to changes in price, it should be called as extension. Similarly, if demand decreases due to changes in price, this is called as contraction. If demand changes due to other factors, not because of price, then it is called as a decrease. So increase, decrease, extension and contraction. And moreover, when we say law of demand is saying if price increases, demand contracts, if price decreases, demand extends. So then when we draw the demand curve, so demand curve will be sloping downwards from left to right. So on y-axis, we will show the price. X-axis will show the quantity demanded. X-axis. So extension contraction will be shown on the same demand curve. Extension contraction will be shown on the same demand curve. Because price increases, demand contracts, price decreases, demand extends. So, but when we come to increase and decrease, separate curves should be drawn. So, for example, you see this is the initial demand curve. A shift towards the right side of the initial demand curve, so this will be called as increase in demand. And a shift towards the left side of the initial demand curve, now this is called as decrease. So this is decrease in demand curve, this is increase in demand curve, and this is the original demand curve. So we are drawing separate lines. So on y-axis, we don't write price here. X-axis same, quantity demanded, but here we write other factors. Other factors, that means other than price. Other than the price. So this is law of demand. This is a law of demand. Thank you.